Here's a most important lesson. Your mind tends to see the things that you expect to see. So let's turn that around like this. Okay, you've all got these lenses on. We all have them. You all have a model that you use for looking at the world. And today we're going to explore four of those models that are very common. And you're going to try to figure out which of these, if any, you fit into. And then I'm going to talk about what you can do working with that model, how you can turn it to your advantage, or how you can escape that model if it's not really serving you. So let's dive in. Imagine, if you could, like an XY axis. So I'm not sure if the camera's a mirror image, but something like this, the classic chart. And going across the top, from top to bottom, the Y axis is abundance. So way up here at the top, you've got, if you believe in your model that we live in an abundant world where there are lots of good things for everybody and lots of opportunities, then you have a high level abundance mentality. And at the bottom of the axis is a low abundance. And this is if you think, well, there's just not that much there. There aren't many opportunities. That's low abundance. And it's okay. There's ways to deal with all of these situations. So that's the XY axis, high abundance, low abundance. And now I'm going to, so now the X axis has to do with your belief about the choices and opportunities and options you have. So if you're over here at the far left of the axis, you don't believe you have many options. You don't believe that there are many choices in life. And if you're over here at the right, you believe there's lots of choices and lots of possibility in life. So now we've got high abundance, high choice, low choice, and then divide this whole scheme into four different squares or quadrants. We're going to look at each one and see which model fits you the best. So first of all, the low abundance, if you believe there's low abundance and low choice, call this model the fire. And what it is you believe that there's not a whole lot available, there's not a lot of good stuff in the world, and there aren't just many choices for you. And chances are, if this is your paradigm, your current model of the world, then your house is on fire. You're in a survival situation, you're in survival mode. And so there are two things you can do. Number one is just do whatever you can to escape the house and put out the fire. Because when you're in a fire, when your house is on fire, you're not trying to think about how to improve your golf game or whether you're going to go to France on a vacation. You're just trying to get safe. So if you're in the fire zone, think about what you need to do to get out of there and to put out the fire. Or there's another possibility. If you're in this first quadrant, the fire quadrant, explore this. Is it really that bad? Is there really a fire? Or do you really have no choice but to put out the fire? Is that really your only alternative? Is it possible that there might be more abundance? So think about these things, but ultimately, if you're in this quadrant of low abundance, low choice, on the plus side, you probably know exactly what you need to do. You have a very clear path in front of you. Put out the freaking fire. On the other hand, think about how you can get out of this quadrant because all the adventure and treasure and joy in life comes when you're no longer in survival mode. So that's what to do if you're in this quadrant. Now, if you're in this quadrant over here where we've got low abundance but now high choice, I call this the dumpster quadrant. You're sorting through a lot of garbage, you believe there's a lot of trash, and once in a while you'll find something to eat. But let me give you another perspective on this. When I was younger, I was living with some people and we got a lot of our food by dumpster diving. And yeah, it was disgusting most of the time, but we actually scored lots of fruit and bread and cheese and foods that you could just cut off the little bad part and the rest of it was good. We found a bakery where there was just cinnamon rolls and tasty cookies almost every day, and they just threw them in here completely sealed in plastic because they were past their date, but they were still very fresh and delicious. Once in a while, we'd score something really nice, like some rum butter cakes or a couple of beers. And sometimes you get a miracle from the dumpster. Like one time, a friend of mine had a job interview and he didn't really have a lot of nice clothes to wear. He found a button down shirt and a pair of slacks that were perfectly pressed and sealed, and they were in a plastic container unopened. And with the cardboard and the pins and all that stuff right out of a store, and they fit him perfectly. He wore those the next day to his interview and he got the job. So it's almost like the dumpster sent this thing to him. So if you're in the dumpster mentality where there's a lot of choice, but not much abundance, your job is to raise the bar. Don't go after the nasty bread that's moldy. Find the bakery where they're throwing out day-old pastries that are perfectly clean and good. Find the clothing that's going to get you a job interview, that's going to get you out of this low abundance situation. So in the dumpster, your job is to raise the bar about what you accept, what you consider is good and acceptable, and raise the bar about what you believe is possible. Now let's go to the top here. The top left is where there's you believe in high abundance, but you also believe you don't have a lot of choices. And this is the situation that most people in the world today are stuck in. And I call this the treasure map because you do believe there's something great out there, there's something wonderful, but there's only one route to get to it. It's very precise and very specific. So maybe you think, okay, the common one is if I work hard, if I study and go to school and go to college, I can get a good job and I can buy a house and I can live happily ever after. And you probably might have noticed that lately this model, which was great in the past, maybe 20, 30 years ago, it doesn't work anymore, at least not for most people. So if you're in the treasure map, a couple things you should do. First of all, do some critical thinking on is this the treasure you want? Is there something else you want instead? Is this the best route to it? Can you find a quicker way to get there? And also think about the possibility that you might have other choices, other options. And if you assume that the treasure map wasn't the only way to get to what you want, what else could you try? What else would you do? These are the things to reflect on and think about if you're in this quadrant, in the treasure map quadrant. And finally, we're going to look at the one I think most of you are in, and that is the buffet. This is where you believe in a world where there's a lot of abundance. You believe that you have lots of choices. And this sounds like a wonderful thing, and it is. I think it's the best quadrant to be in. But even this, it has flaws. With so many opportunities, with so much abundance, with so much to believe in and look at, it's hard to make choices, it's hard to make decisions. Now, sometimes when I go to a restaurant where there's a buffet and it's all you can eat, I'll take a little nibble of this, little nibble of that, little nibble of that. And usually, within an hour or so, sometimes quicker, I'm just stuffed where I just feel, bloated and almost sick. And I haven't really enjoyed anything. I just had little tastes of stuff. And so the key to the buffet is, well, there are a couple of things. First of all, gratitude. Just be grateful that you're in this world where there's all this abundance and you have all these choices and you can pretty much do what you want and pick for what you want and anything you could possibly think of that you desire. It's just there for the grabbing and the picking and just enjoy that and be grateful for it and you'll feel a lot happier. But number two, if you're having trouble choosing what you want from the buffet, admit that that's a problem and say, okay, look, I need to make some decisions. I need to choose something. And then come up with a strategy for pursuing that. And this is what this course is going to do a lot, by the way. But one thing you can do is seek to choose. Like think of, okay, there's 10 different entrees. I'm going to pick one, but maybe I'll have a small taste of like three of them. Okay, so you put a spoonful of this and a little bit of this and a little of that on like three or four different entrees. Try each one, see which one really you like the best, and then choose that, and then just load up your plate with that. And then the rest of the buffet, you can pick variety with like the sides and the salads and the dessert. That's all going to give fun and variety. But you've chosen like a core thing, and all you have to do is make a commitment to choose and promise yourself that the reason you're seeking and tasting different things is just to make that choice. So now you've got these models we've shared today, the four models of the world. Your job, your homework is to do a little bit of critical reflection on this. Think about which quadrant you're in, and once you understand which one you're in, do some reflection on number one, is this model of the world serving me well? And if not, how can I change it? And if it is, then think about the questions that I gave you and the stuff that we talked about for each quadrant and reflect on that quadrant and how you can make your life situation better based on understanding the model that you're in now. Now, tomorrow we're going to take this a step further. We're going to go into your own personal story, and it's going to be really exciting and really fun. So I can't wait to see you, and I hope I'll catch you there soon. All right.